Here's our 3-step process. And the first one goes back to what we were talking about in the first episode, which is to capture the thought. So when you are in overwhelm, is to be able to capture the moment whenever you can. What we want to do is capture the moment and be like, I am feeling overwhelmed. So the first step is to notice that and notice what you're feeling in your body. You just got to keep going. So the first thing we want to do is pause and notice what's coming up for me here. And then the second thing is, as we're noticing in our body and asking what's coming up, we're looking for something more than I've got all these things to do. We're looking for kind of what we talked about before, which is what is like the deeper thing happening here. So that second step is really what is the real belief? And it's going to be very similar to what we were doing on this last episode is then we need to ask, like, what do I really need? Because as much as we talk about like self-care days and taking care of ourselves, like we really struggle to know it's okay to ask for things and what we need. That can feel so vulnerable because in their past, they asked that of someone usually before the age of 7 and they rejected them and they didn't have time and they had to keep going. And so to really be able to ask, like, what do I really need right now in this moment? Maybe you can't get it in that moment, but you can know that you could ask later. In that day. And then step 3 is to say, okay, is there like what else is coming to me? And so I know, Jennifer, you've used this technique too of like brain dumping, writing everything out. So now that we've gotten to like the real story and what's really probably overwhelming me, now I still feel like I might have all these things to do, but now I've got more of like a level playing field in my head that I could actually assess these. Brain dumping is where you write down on a piece of paper everything that you possibly think you have going on. We write it all down. And then we look at our values and we really decide like what's really in alignment? What am I doing here on this earth? And then we start to sift through like what are the things that are in alignment with my values that are mine to do? We can either pay them, ask them, ChatGPT, like delegate it to someone, something. And then the delete is these are not in alignment with my values right now. They're not getting me where I need to go. Like when I learned this years ago, it was I'm leading these 2 Bible studies, but they're not in alignment with where I'm going in life right now. And there's nothing wrong with leading a Bible study, but it wasn't in alignment with where I was going caring for my family and what I felt like God had called me to in that next season. And I find just like you said, like this isn't a process where you're like, I did it once and I'm good. Like this 3-step process is a process that we can do on the regular. And it gets us out of that like overwhelm spiral and trap that we're like, I'm so busy. You want to have more time? And they're like, what? I'm like, you have to choose to believe that you have all the time you need for all the things that matter today. And then we do this work that we just talked about. So that 3-step process, I find anyone can do it anytime.